Hey, what's going on guys? Carnage Gaming here, back with a brand new video, and in today's video we are going to go over the best settings for Fortnite Battle Royale Season 11. Guys, drop a like if this does help you at all, leave a comment down below on what you guys want to see next, and obviously hit that subscribe button. We just hit 1,000 subscribers, can't thank you guys enough. Okay, let's hop right into this. The first thing we are going to want to look at is this first video settings options. Now here, for most players, you're going to want to play in full screen to help your frames, but personally I play in windowed full screen because I have two monitors and I like to utilize both monitors while I play as well as I stream. So if I need to click onto my other monitor to do something while I'm streaming, I need to have windowed full screen on, that way I can click over. If you aren't streaming, you don't have a second monitor, full screen is going to be the way to go. 1920 1080 69 basic display resolution. Frame rate limit, if you have a monitor that is 144 hertz, you're going to want to move this up to 144 or even higher if it can handle it. 160 is pretty good. 120 is where I sit at, because usually I can hold 120 the entire time without any problems, and my monitor is only 60 hertz. Resolution, you want it all the way up because that's going to be how well your game actually is shown, so obviously you want it to look pretty nice. Now, personally, shadows, anti-aliasing, textures, effects, and post-processing, I don't have any of these on except for obviously low on a couple of these because they impact your performance. But for me, I haven't seen enough of a graphical improvement in order for it to be worth it to turn those up, So they obviously bring your frames down some. If I were to turn all these up to epic, I would lag, and it doesn't really help me at all. Especially with shadows, I suggest having shadows off no matter how good your computer is, no matter what, because it helps you see players so much better. View distance, I have mine on far. If you want to put it up to epic, go ahead, whatever works for your computer. But I think far, medium, this area is where you want to be at, pretty good area. VSync, leave it off unless you have some issues with your monitor tearing. If you don't know what tearing is, you can look up a video on it. It's where your monitor has lines, stuff like that. Motion blur, leave it off. If you want to play Fortnite and be good at it, turn motion blur off. If you have motion blur on, you're not doing it right. All right, guys, turn it off. Show FPS, I leave it on, that way I can see where my FPS is at. If I start lagging, I can try and figure out why. And then allow multi-thread rendering, helps you kind of split up how much work your computer is doing between all your different processors, all that type of stuff. And then if you end up having trouble with this, you can turn it off, obviously. Into the actual settings, your matchmaking region, you want whatever region is best for you. I'm NA West, but leaving it on auto works as well. Now for my mouse, I think that I'm a pretty low sensitivity, or I wouldn't even say low, I'd say I'm a pretty average sensitivity. I play on a pretty average sensitivity. So if you're trying to get into PC, if you don't know what sensitivity should work for you, or you're just looking for a better sense than one you're using right now, I use 0.11 on X and Y, and then my mouse's DPI is 600, all right? On here, I sometimes will go up to 0.120. Alright, so sometimes I'll do 0.120, but recently I think this 0.11 is going to be your best bet. Targeting sense and scope sense both at 0.70. Again, I've been playing PC back since Season 1. Alright guys, this is definitely the move. This sensitivity works pretty well for players that aren't professional players that aren't used to all the keyboard and mouse controls. Most of this stuff doesn't matter too much. This is mostly for if you're a streamer. HUD scale, I leave mine at 100, just that way I can see all the stuff well. Some people like to turn it down some so that they can have more screen space for actually seeing enemies, but personally, I don't mind it. Toggle sprint, I leave off just because I've become so used to holding down the shift key to sprint. I know a lot of people like to use their shift key to build and such, so turning that on, not a terrible idea. Or not toggle sprint, sorry, sprint by default. Turning sprint by default on is not a terrible idea. Sprint cancels reload, you want it off. Tap to search and interact. This is a very important one, guys. Leave tap to search and interact on. All right, you need this on. That way, instead of having to hold down your use key, which by default is E, you only have to click it. So you can click it and automatically start searching the chest, automatically start reviving your teammate. You don't have to hold it down the entire time. It's a lifesaver. Toggle targeting and reset building choice. None of this stuff matters too much. Toggle targeting, obviously, you want it off. Turbo building on. Turbo delete in creative mode. Nothing too important. Auto open doors, I've seen a lot of different things on this. Some people say that it's good because if you accidentally edit a door, you can automatically run through it. It doesn't slow you down too much. Personally, I don't like it because I get into fights where, say, they're behind a door or something. If I look at that door, it's going to open, and then I'm caught off guard by my own edit. Confirm edit on release. This is a new setting in Fortnite Chapter 2. Guys, personally, I'm going to have to say to turn it off. I know a lot of pro players are starting to like it, starting to say turn it on, but it has a slight delay. It has like a 0.1 second delay on when your edit actually confirms. And for me, I've become so used to just confirming my edit, it's so much faster for me to just confirm it myself. Now, this might get updated and changed in the future, so be sure you stay up to date on what happens, guys. But as of right now, it is going to be better to leave it off if you are used to using your confirm edit button. If not, experiment with it, figure out what works best for you. Auto pick up weapons, I don't care for. This one saves me a lot of the times. Auto sort consumables to the right. The way my keybinds are set up for my hotbar, I like to auto sort my consumables to the right. That way, if I land somewhere, say I get bandages off spawn, and then I get a couple guns, well, my guns are already going to be on that left side where I put most of my main buttons, and my bandages are going to put themselves to the right, out of the way if I get into a fight off spawn. Don't have to worry about it much. Builder Pro, most controller settings, we don't need any of this stuff. Over here, more controller sensitivity settings, doesn't matter too much. And then brightness, I have it at 0.41. Now, this obviously depends on what monitor you have, your eyesight, like just things like this, your room, you know, experiment with it, figure out what's best for you. I like mine at about 0.4, 0.41. It seems to work pretty well for me. Sound, turn your music off unless, you know, you like the music. I mean, personally, it's just kind of there. I don't like listening to the music all the time. Sound effects, voice chat, you want that stuff on. 100%. Sound quality, now they say that this might decrease performance, turning your sound quality to high. Also, Fortnite News did tweet out that people were experiencing lag issues and they need to turn it to low and it will fix it. None of this is really very true. Turning it to high is not going to affect your performance very much, but it does help your hearing and figuring out where the positioning of enemies is, so I would highly suggest turning it on. 3D headphones, you also want that on because that is going to help you so much, especially if you're using a headset. You're going to be able to hear if people are above or below so much better, which is huge, so much better than last season. Background audio I have on just for streaming purposes only, basically. That way, whenever I click off of my Fortnite monitor and click on to stay my streaming monitor to change a setting, I can still hear the background noise of Fortnite going, and the stream doesn't, you know, have the sound cut out or anything weird like that. Visualize sound effects, I have it off, and then voice chat settings. Actually, guys, right here off, I was just messing with this earlier trying to figure out what the best setting for this is. Unless you are actually colorblind, which I know a lot of players aren't, you should leave colorblind mode off. Now, last season, in Season 10, people were saying to go to Trite Nope, like, you know, full 10, that was going to be the best way to play, and it was. You could see through the storm so much easier. You could identify players so much easier. Now, leaving it off is your best bet. The storm colors have changed. The density of the fog and such has changed. Leaving it off, you can see players much better. I've actually tested this myself. Leaving it off is going to be your best bet, unless obviously you are colorblind. Then obviously please turn it on and make sure that you can see your colors correctly. Whatever type of color blindness you have, make sure you can, you know, get your colors correctly, because that's going to be the best way for you to play. None of this stuff matters too much unless you are playing on a controller. Alright, guys, so now to movement. All this stuff is very basic. Now into the binds. Alright, so the weapon slot one I have is F5 and F6. This is a really weird bind, and I get asked in stream all the time why it's F5 and F6. That's so hard to reach. Well, I have my first and second buttons where my thumb is on my mouse as F5 and F6. So my mouse buttons are actually F5 and F6, which makes it super easy for me to get to those two. It's just a click of the thumb, 1 and 2. Spot 3 I just have as 3 because I just use my pointer finger, left pointer finger, to get to 3 after it's on my W, A, S, and D keys. And then I have caps lock and Z as my 4 and 5 slots. Caps lock is usually where I put most of my bandages and heals and stuff. Z is where I'm going to put my sniper rifle, RPG, anything like that. 3 is where I put my rifle, and then 2 and 1, it'll have a shotgun or SMG depending which spot it's in. The reason I have it on caps lock and Z, caps lock is easy to get to with your pinky, even if you're in like the middle of moving and stuff like that. My pinky can easily get there. And then Z is easy to get to with my ring finger, even if I'm still trying to move and stuff like that. So it's all of these binds I can use while I'm moving. I don't have to stop to try and click it, move my fingers anywhere crazy. Very simple stuff to get to, very easy to get used to. Crouch while building is very basic. Now for my build binds, wall, floor, stairs, roof, and then eventually trap. These thumb mouse buttons are not actually active. I was messing with those back a while ago in like Season 8 and just haven't changed them. For my wall, I have Q because it's super easy to get to, super quick. Floor, I have as C. stairs as F, and roof as X. Now, I have heard that there are more efficient ways to be building, especially in Chapter 2. This could be possibly outdated depending on who you ask. I know that a lot of these pro players are trying out new binds, trying to figure out what works the best. This is personally, I think, the best for a intermediate to somewhat advanced player, even a beginner. So if you are pro player level qualifying for tournaments, don't change your binds to this. If you are pretty good to intermediate to even just starting, I think these binds are perfect for you because one, they work really well, perfect for getting to all of your builds. You can get to every single one of them with a different finger super easily. It's all super quick, very compact. And also, they're super easy to get used to. These are very easy to learn as it's just basically 2 fingers that you use to get to them. Your F and your C, your floor and your stairs, you use your index finger. Your wall and then your roof are both used from the ring finger and the middle finger or the index finger as well. So really, it's 2 fingers maximum that you're going to be using while trying to get used to this. And then trap as T. I don't use traps too often in Season 11 or Fortnite Chapter 2 just because the only traps that we have are the spike trap, and it's just not as useful as it used to be with, you know, launch pads and bouncers and all the different types of traps. So we just leave that as T. Repair and upgrade I have as Y, rotate building as R. Nothing too crazy with these. My building edit I have on left alt, and same thing with my confirm edit. So my left alt button is what I use to edit and such. The way that I do this is I move my thumb from spacebar underneath my hand to the left alt button. Now guys, next time you're at a keyboard, try this because it works so well. It's so efficient to get to. It's so easy. You can still jump while you're editing by just barely moving it over. It's not very difficult to use. Perfect for it. Another big setting that you guys need to use, if you are playing on PC and you don't use this setting, you are not playing as good as you can. Alright, every single pro player that there is uses this setting. I'm going to say that again. Every single pro player that there is uses this setting. Okay? Building edit, mouse wheel down. Reset building edit, mouse wheel down. This lets you reset your build by just scrolling your mouse wheel. Okay, so instead of clicking your edit button, right clicking to reset, and then confirming it, you literally just scroll. Alright, your edit time goes down so much. You're able to edit so much faster. It feels like cheating, but it's not. It's allowed. Everybody does it. Guys, make sure you have this setting on. It'll improve you so much. Alright, guys. Ping, I have as middle mouse button. Push, talk, squad comes. None of this stuff is very important. None of this stuff either. Toggle harvesting tool, literally never use it. You don't really need to. There's not really too much of a reason to. I have my map as M, inventory as tab, carry as F. Vehicle controls are basically all default. And that brings us to the end of the controls. Guys, that is going to be the best controls for a beginner to intermediate to even a pretty freaking good player to use. I'd like to think that I am getting close to becoming a pro player, guys. I'm pretty decent as of now. Alright, if you guys used any of these settings, if any of this helped you at all, please leave a like, subscribe, and guys, leave a comment down below on what videos you want to see me do next, because I need some ideas. I want to do what you guys want to see. Also, we're getting the creator code soon. It might even be in the description by now, so go ahead and use that. Support the channel. If you made it this far, I love you, and I will see you in the next video. Peace out.